Hello everyone and welcome to my channel Knowledge Central, and this is the second video in the playlist where I started talking about the books which kind of moved me and motivated me, uh, like improving my personal goals like mental and physical health and well-being, etc. So today I'm going to talk about a book called Four Disciplines of Execution. And the main reason I choose this is because a lot of people have a lot of aspirations, plans, goals, and things which they wanted to achieve. I want to do this, that, but there is never an actionable plan or an execution to indeed do it. Right? This is also similar or partially in line with Atomic Habits, which I discussed in the last video. So please go up the list if you want to hear about that book. It's a beautiful book. So similarly, this book is written by Seam Covey and McChesney. So it's a pretty straightforward book, and there is a lot of insights and a lot of simple tips which I gathered from this book. And yeah, basically, as the title suggests, there are just 4 steps in order for you to execute a certain thing you want. So let's dive into it directly. So the first one is to have a goal or a vision, right? What you wanted to do. And you need to be clear with that. You might not be clear with how are we going to achieve it, or what means and how. The why and the goal or the vision is very important. And in this book, he calls it the wildly important goal, WIG, where you just pick up the most important thing you want in that particular action you want to do, or a habit, or a discipline you want to execute. Simple as that. So have that goal in mind and be clear of the why. So that's the first step, foremost step. The second thing he talks about is by having a measure. And when I mean by measure is how do you measure your progress or your habit or the action which you're doing. And he talks about 2 things here in the second point, or the second insight which I got, is having a lead measure rather than lag measure. And here comes the difference. You might be wondering, wow, what is that? What is a lead and what is a lag measure? So let me explain by taking an example here. Let me say my goal is to be fit, right? Physically fit, physically healthy, right? So there are a lot of ways which I can do it. And say, for example, one of the ways is, for example, I can think that I need to reduce certain amounts of pounds or certain amount of kgs in order to do it. But imagine 2 or 3 weeks down the line, I lost 2 kgs, which means after 3 weeks, the 2 kgs is already lost. So that is a lag measure. That's not a good idea. How do you measure and action? So what he coins is by having a lead measure to that wildly important goal. And what he means by a lead measure is, considering the same example, is, for example, you can keep 15 minutes of cycling every day, right? It is a lead measure. It is pushing you to do it. And when you do it, it's still not over. The next day, you have to do it again, right? So that is a lead measure. Jogging for an hour, exercising or lifting weights, or following a diet plan, everything is a lead measure. It is never over after if it's done. You need to do it again and again and again. And once you achieve it, of course, you can get better. So that's the advantage of having a lead measure. So he talks about a little bit detail in that. So it's better to have a little emphasis on that. So make sure that your measure is a lead measure and not a lag measure, right? Third point he talks about is try to track your progress. And if you do not have a proper tracking system, there are a lot of softwares, a lot of mobile apps. So make sure that your actions or executions are tracked so that it's not stopped and you don't execute it offhandedly, etc. So make sure that you're tracked and have a calendar, or maintain a small notepad, etc. But make sure you track it. And when you track it, what happens is, it's a little bit outside the scope of this book, but when I've listened to a lot of podcasts and other books, it subconsciously gives you a positive feeling. Like, once, say for example, I've cycled 15 minutes today, it gives me a feel-good hormone, and then that kind of motivates me to do it again tomorrow. Imagine I have 10 ticks in my calendar month and I didn't even skip one day. The 11th day, you're definitely going to do it. And then that has a subconscious motivation or the pull or the drive for you to keep doing it. And that tracking system really helps you. And then you can just hang it in front of you on your study table, or as soon as you wake up, you check. So you put it into your list already. So that's the third important point or the insight we get from this book. And finally is be accountable for what you promise that you will do, right? Make sure that you give small perks, small positive reinforcement for yourself. uh, like for example, let it be treating yourself with a healthy fruit smoothie after your jog, or making sure that you are self appreciating yourself, and that's very important. And maybe in another video I'll talk about how your self talk is more important than we think. So make sure that you're appreciated, you are accountable for a certain task. When you promise you're going to do something, make sure you do it. Self promises and achieving the self goals immensely develop you to actually execute the lead measure, which I was talking in point number 2, and of course end up achieving your wildly important goal or the vision you started with. So these were the 4 points or insights, or to just quote the title, 4 disciplines of execution, whatever you want. So I think this comes to the end of the video, what I wanted to discuss. So of course, feel free to let me know how can I improve. Do you want additional feedback or additional explanation of any of the points? What books or what, say for example, topic you want me to discuss or talk about? I'll be glad and happy to start a new playlist, or of course start a new book summary, etc. So I hope everybody keeps learning, keep reading, and yeah, stay healthy. Cheers.